Welcome to episode 33 of the Animorphs Read-Along broadcast. Today we are talking about Megamorphs number 3, Elfangor's Secret. So this is another time travel book. You know, for a book series about kids turning into animals, there sure is a lot of time travel. So I love the way this book starts, with just like us being thrust into this new alternate reality, no explanation. I love the moment when we're inside Jake's head and he's talking about prom. He says everyone laughed, except Axe, of course, who had no idea what a prom was. And he goes, "He's not one of us, so what can you expect?" That's like the first moment that we get that something's wrong. Just that very subtle difference. So we find out that because of these changes that Visser 4 has made with the time matrix, that now they live in some sort of weird dystopian future where slaves are a thing and where they're at war with Brazil, calling the Brazilians primitives. But so this is once again another Craig Drode Elemis book, so I guess those are like happening all the time now. So this book opens with a prologue sort of reminding us of some of the stuff we learned back in the Andalite Chronicles, namely that Elfangor had the time matrix and hid it on Earth. It turns out Visser 4 has stolen the time matrix to make some changes in the past that will help his career. So the Drode, like, we will make it possible for you to follow this time matrix, but one of you must die. One of the things this book series does in general, I think, is it really tries to de-glamorize war and violence. And so this book really takes that whole idea and takes it a little further. These are some of the most famous, celebrated battles in history. And the Animorphs keep saying, like, man, this really sucks. And they're describing the horrors and everyone's screaming and, like, there's nothing glamorous or glorious about it. It's just people killing each other. I think out of everyone, the most interesting point of view character in this book is Axe. Similar to book 28, where Axe is clearly the author's sort of mouthpiece for, like, animal testing is horrible. He's very much the author's mouthpiece in this book for, like, war is horrible and human violence is horrible. He says a lot of things where he's just, like, so shocked. Right after he finds out about the Holocaust, he says, "That human warrior would stand against human warrior and kill. That was wrong and foolish and stupid. But that humans, the species I was risking my own life to help, were capable of such a filthy, cowardly thing as the deliberate slaughter of innocents." And then he drifts off and starts thinking about the fact that he killed a Hessian earlier in the book. So that's another interesting aspect of the story, is that each of the Animorphs kind of has this moment where they have to do something horrible. And Cassie alludes to this at the end when she says, I guess none of us are going to get out of this without some great sin, right before she discovers the solution to their whole problem, make sure that this controller, John Berryman, was never born. It was a pretty cliche way to go about things, but it was surprisingly, like, emotional when I read that part. Like, Cassie's very good at making you feel things and feel empathy and sadness and mourn people, and I liked it. They run into Hitler on the beach at D-Day, and Tobias is like, I'm gonna kill Hitler, and Cassie's like, no, you can't, he's not even really Hitler in this version of reality, and Tobias is like, but Hitler's still Hitler, and then Cassie's like, well, is Jake really Jake in that other reality that we started out with? And just those kind of questions, like the whole nature versus nurture thing, like, and she says, he's not evil for who he is. No one is. You can't be evil for being someone. It's what you do. And this guy is just a driver. Was Hitler inherently bad because he was just an evil human? Or, I don't know. I don't know the answers to those questions. But Cassie seems to. I liked, after Jake died, how the Animorphs became, like, invulnerable and they, like, couldn't be killed. That was pretty fun. So, like, you know, Rachel gets blown in half and Tobias gets shot at point blank and, like, everyone's just, they keep dying, but now they're invincible. So, yeah, I mean, this book has a lot of history, a lot of contemplation of war and morality, when it's acceptable to kill someone. Jake dies, everyone kind of wants revenge, and Cassie even catches herself being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill Visser 4 for Jake, and she's like, wow, like, I'm a part of this cycle of violence, why am I just perpetuating this, like, vengeful thing? Axe feels so guilty about the Hessian that he killed, and at the end, when they have Visser 4 in their hands in Yerk form, nobody wants to kill him, because they're just all so sick of taking lives. This is pretty standard for the Animorphs, but I do think that examining all of these questions in the context of real wars and real battles kind of takes them to a new place. Just the one, like, unresolved question from this book is that now the time matrix is still exactly where it was at the beginning, and so all of this could potentially happen again, and I'm kind of surprised that Visser 3 never put it together that that's where the time matrix is. Like, maybe he just, after his experiences, is like, I don't even want to bother, like, forget the time matrix. But I feel like knowing that Elfangor had it, and knowing that Elfangor came back here, like, I don't know, I just feel like he would have put that together by now. But it's okay. It's alright. Those were my thoughts about Megamorphs number 3, Elfangor's Secret. The next book is book number 29, The Sickness. If you want to keep up with this read-along, subscribe to this channel or follow me on Twitter, and I will see you on Monday.